One fell off and bumped his head. Mama called the doctor and the doctor said, no more monkeys jumping on the bed. And your alphabet device on the face, God. Welcome back, Sunrisers. Now this segment, it's all about highlighting an upcoming event dedicated to a very vital and benevolent cause. The Preemie Foundation of Jamaica's inaugural Pedal and Stroll 5K, where you're directly contributing to a future where more premature babies are cared for in Jamaica.
Absolutely, and we're going to be speaking with the founder and chairwoman of the Preemie Foundation of Jamaica, Serika Sterling, who's going to be sharing her personal story behind the foundation's mission. And we're also going to hear from the past VP of Caribbean Cycling Federation, Vaughn Phang, who will be explaining the cycling component of this event.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. How are you?
Good morning.
Doing well. Thanks for
Great to see you. Talk to us about the foundation and how it affects and impacts preemies born in Jamaica.
Well, the Preemie Foundation was started out of my personal experience of giving birth to premature triplet boys at the University Hospital of the West Indies. And we spent 4 months in the NICU there, which was supposed to be one of the best NICUs, if not the best NICU on the island. And even there were a lot of shortcomings, which, you know, we discovered while we were there. Unfortunately, 2 of my kids passed away in the NICU. And upon leaving, I said, boy, we have to do something, because while I was there, I realized that I couldn't find any resources on premature births in Jamaica. There was no one talking about it. And we were going through a lot, and we were really just turning to each other, but had no one else to talk to or turn to. And when I spoke to the doctors and the workers at the NICU, they too were working against considerable odds, you know, lack of equipment, just regular supplies, human resource issues. And I said, you know what, I need to raise awareness about this phenomenon. We need to build a community to strengthen the healthcare system for premature babies.
So I actually attended a fundraiser for the Preemie Foundation, a Sip and Paint, some months ago.
Yes,
and Serika had shared her story about, you know, her experience and what the foundation was about. And I've been assisting the current board of the Jamaica Cycling Federation with some projects. And on hearing what this thing was about, they asked me to come on board. And the Federation mandate has always been to try and support lifestyle, you know, change to help people get fitter. And the cause, the background for this charity was a no-brainer. So we had to pool our resources, get the team together, meet with the foundation and see how we could, you know, promote what the message was about, promote cycling, promote just the awareness of what the Preemie Foundation is trying to do.
Thank you very much to our guest, Serika Sterling, founder and chairwoman of the Preemie Foundation of Jamaica, and Vaughn Phang, past vice president of the Caribbean Cycling Federation. All right.
And my help and guide through my 10K. You heard that? It's a 10K. I've been saying 5 all these years, and it was a 10. Look how I underrate myself, Dennis. All them something. That's why I have good people.
Yes, that's right.
That's the truth.
And that's
God
why it was
bless
good that
Vaughn.
we had this conversation to remind you. Stay with us. More Sunrise when we return.
Welcome back. Thank you so very much for staying with us here on CVM TV. See it happen. We're taking a closer look this morning at the Jamaican government, specifically focusing on 2 key roles that often raise questions. The minister without portfolio and the state minister. Who are they? What do they do? Are they even necessary? Well, we're going to find out. This segment will shed some light on the unique responsibilities and selection process of ministers without portfolio, offering insights into their adaptability and crucial contributions to addressing the evolving governmental needs. Joining us to provide expert analysis are attorneys at law and PhD in government, well, attorney at law and a PhD in government candidate at the University of the West Indies, Sean Stultz, and LLB MSc government attorney at law, Tanmar Clark. Brains up in the air this morning. Good morning, gentlemen. How are you?
Greetings.
Wonderful.
All right, so as Danmar would have expressed, the state ministers, these are the persons who are placed within specific ministries as junior ministers to the actual
It's
cabinet
like a
minister.
deputy
Yes.
minister.
As a deputy.
Yes.
And
Some
of
places
course,
might call it deputy minister.
Deputy minister,
Yeah.
of course. And of course, it is good for succession planning, of course. What if something should happen to one of the ministers? Instead of the Prime Minister being flustered in terms of who to select as a new cabinet member, it is easier to make that transition. However, when you're looking on a minister without portfolio, right, of course, they don't have a sole ministry, but there are different special projects and initiatives which the government spearheads, which you don't really and truly want to put it within a specific ministry. So what he does is to give these persons the responsibility of spearheading. For example, like digital transformation, you wouldn't want to put that within a specific ministry, but however, it's a national project, right, that you would want somebody to to pay keen and specific attention to.
It's really incumbent on the Prime Minister, his ministers, and what is the societal feedback as it relates to for the ministry. Let's look at the Ministry of Constitutional Affairs as one prime example. That was introduced because at that point we thought it was pretty critical to introduce such a ministry. But based on performance and certain KPIs and the overall feedback and perception of the ministry, you find out that the Prime Minister has now merged constitutional affairs with justice. Now, it probably dings on him that, maybe I don't need to focus on an individual ministry for constitutional affairs, but let me look at creating a ministry for water, right? Like what we see happening with Mr. Samuda. So it's, to be honest, it's really a term-by-term basis and really as relates to the needs of the society and how each ministry would have performed.
So that is how the ministries
It's like when you go to a country and you hear Ministry of Indigenous Affairs.
Yeah, because they have indigenous people.
To them, that's an
it's
important issue.
Yeah, we don't have that.
Yeah.
So it's just like, for example, Ministry of Health. For many years, it was just health alone. But we've come to realize wellness more embodies that kind of thing.
We're going to take a break for the news, but when we return, we're going to continue the discussion in just a moment. TK is on standby with the news.